it's time to talk about this little bad boy. This is a new manual focusing lens, a small crazy manual focusing lens for Fujifilm from Pergear. Let's talk about this lens and the results that I've got with this lens on Fujifilm X-T5, X-T30 and other Fujifilm cameras that I own. Let's talk about this now. Hi there and welcome to my channel. My name is Tudor Matescu and I have here a small little lens, a crazy good lens that has a crazy price because I will review it thinking about the price of this lens because it's very cheap, so very affordable, and the results are crazy good for my findings. So if you're in content like this, please subscribe now to my channel, and also please be sure to check my newsletter for photography tips and tricks. So this is Pergear 25mm f1.7 new lens. This lens is probably the Mark II of the Pergear 25mm f1.8 lens. So a new lens for Fujifilm X mount for Fujifilm X-T5 with 40 megapixel sensor. Does this lens resolves the 40 megapixel sensor? How this lens is acting on Fujifilm X-T5? How this lens is comparing to other small Fujifilm lenses like the 27mm f2.8, like the Voigtlander 27mm f2. We will discuss about these topics in this video. So first of all, build and ergonomics. What I like about this lens. I am loving the small factor. I am totally loving the small factor. This lens is crazy small, very good build quality, metal build. The aperture clicks are nice, well damped with full stops, and I love full stops for lenses like this. So you have a full stop from f1.7 to f2.8 and so on. You have a nice manual focusing ring, very well damped. You really feel the ring. Also the aperture ring, nice clicks, well damped. So great build quality, really great build quality. And what I like the most about this lens is that it's very small, very compact, but it's not as light as other pancake lenses that I've discussed in this video, like the 27mm f2.8 and as Voigtlander. But the weight doesn't matter in this moment because it will not fill in your camera bag. So great portable lens. Now let's talk about the image quality of this lens, the good points and not so good points. So first of all, it resolves the 40 megapixel sensor. From my point of view, I didn't make a comprehensive test, but I've shot some pictures at f1.7, and on my Mario test, I was able to see macro details on the eye from a very good distance, So I was amazed. I really didn't expect the lens will resolve the 40 megapixel sensor. So my majority of the pictures that I'm showing on the screen are made with X-T5 and X-T30, and on both cameras the lens really delivered great image quality when you don't have flare. So this is the first issue that I want to address, is that you have a flare, a strong flare. It's flaring very strong at f1.7, f2.8 and so on. So you really need to use a lens hood. I'm really sorry that I didn't have a lens hood, but with a lens hood you get rid of the flare. Also the previous lens, I was able to see that it's selling online with an included lens hood. So the only downside regarding image quality is the lens flare, but the lens flare can be easily controlled using a lens hood. And now let's get to the next point regarding image quality, micro contrast. Wow, micro contrast of this lens, it's wow, it's jaw-dropping micro contrast. I really can't understand how a lens that is so small can deliver so good subject to background separation even at f11. Even at f11 I have a very strong subject to background separation. So crazy good micro contrast. Probably this is happening because you don't have many lens elements. The micro contrast is crazy good. So if you want a lens that is delivering micro contrast and subject to background separation, again, at f11, at f8, I have a very distinct, powerful subject to background separation. This lens is not a flat lens. And now we are getting to the not so so good part. Being not a flat lens, I feel that it has some field curvature. Probably this is helping the micro contrast. This is adding to the character of this lens, because at f1.7, when you'll nail focus with the micro contrast and with the swirly bokeh, you'll get great images, really amazing images. Really loving the lens for the character that it has. So the character of this lens is crazy and amazing for portraits. I would really recommend this lens because it has an f1.7 aperture. It is pretty sharp at f1.7, not clinical sharp, but not it's not working. No, it's working. It's working. On X-T30 at f1.7, when I didn't have flare, the images were very sharp with sharpness +4 in JPEG, but the images were looking amazing, very good straight out of the camera. On my MacBook screen, you could eat from them. On other screens that aren't so good as a Mac Apple screen, yes, I was feeling the lack of contrast, but this is depending from screen to screen, and you must calibrate your screen to get a constant look on different screens, but you can always add some plus clarity or plus contrast in a Fujifilm camera and you will have a great punchy image at f1.7, even if you have some flare. But if you use a lens hood, no problems. So for portraits, because it also has a great minimum to focus distance, it has 0.2 meters, so 20 centimeters, you could get amazing shots. Portraits shots, product photography shots, artistic shots, really amazing for this. A really great lens to have in your camera bag. I'm really loving it for the results that it gave to me. Regarding vignetting, yes, it has some vignetting, but nothing to complain about. I wasn't able to discover vignetting that will disturb me. Also distortion, nothing to complain about. Again, very well controlled regarding all these aspects. No sound stars and great color rendition and great way of rendering. Great way of rendering portraits and great way of rendering street photography. Now, this is a manual focusing lens. So how do you focus this lens? You can use zone focusing, but because it's a lens that it's not a wide lens, it's a 25mm lens, and I feel it's acting more like a 50mm lens. So you can't rely very well on zone focusing. You can use it with zone focusing at f11, set the hyperfocal distance at 3.96 meters, and you'll be done. But for more close-up shots, you really need to test it before shooting it. So I would pre-focus the lens on a 3. I would set my distance scale at 3 meters, 2 meters, depending on what is the distance that you want to shoot the lens, and after this I will shoot it. Also, it has a true infinity point, but not a hard true infinity point. So if I'm setting my scale at infinity, at that point that I'm showing on the screen, you'll have true infinity. So you must look at the scale when you are pre-focusing at infinity. Other than that, I would advise to use this lens using focus picking. I've got the best results using focus picking. So focus picking on a Fujifilm camera worked great, really great. And the results were very okay, also on X-T30 and also on X-T5. So easy to focus, very easy to focus using focus picking. In conclusion, how this lens is comparing to other Fujifilm lenses? Well, it is the smallest one, I would say, is not the lightest one. It has the best price from all. It has, how I've said, great micro contrast, and I feel that it's a unique lens in the system. So you really need to get this lens for what it's offering. It's offering great portability, it's offering great portraits, great bokeh, swirly bokeh, great minimum to focus distance, and great subject to background separation. Also, it offers a very different field of view. It's not a 27mm field of view, and it's not a 23mm field of view, it's a 25mm field of view. I feel it's more practical than the 40mm field of view and more practical than the 35mm field of view in full frame terms. So for me, I'm really liking this lens. The price, it's a no-brainer, and I really do recommend get this lens. It's really fun to use. You'll get amazing portraits for family photography, for street photography, for fashionable photography. If you want to have a special lens that it's rendering a special way, it's really special. I have the same affinity feelings regarding this lens as on my Jupiter 50mm f1.7 an old Russian lens on a full frame body rangefinder lens. So the results that you get with this lens for the price, the micro contrast, the sharpness at f1.7 and all other goodies are really amazing. You really need to use a lens hood to get the most out of this lens. But how this lens is comparing to other Fujifilm lenses and how you should make your kit, I will make a video in the future comparing more tete-a-tete all these three lenses, and we will see the results in real life use. But for now, because this is a new lens that it's now launched at a great price, I will totally recommend get this lens and play with it. You have nothing to lose, really nothing. You will love it, and you'll love it more if, again, take my advice, buy a lens hood for it. You'll love it with the lens hood. So if you are in content like this, please subscribe now to my channel, give it a like to this video, share my video, leave me your comments, and what's more important, check the next video. This is helping me grow my channel, and it's very easy for you to click the next videos. Thank you, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye bye.